Hi guys, BJ Miller here, palliative care doctor. Here with another little video. This one's about how to choose the right healthcare proxy. So first of all, what is a healthcare proxy? So a healthcare proxy is synonymous with healthcare agent or a surrogate decision maker or durable power of attorney for healthcare. All those words mean the same thing. The role, it is an official designation, it is a formal role, and my healthcare proxy is that person whom I've elected, or who by default, I will talk about that in a second, is deputized to make medical decisions on my behalf when I can no longer make decisions for myself. So a healthcare proxy only kicks in when I no longer can say, whether I've been in an accident, when I'm altered, when COVID hits and I'm intubated, whatever it could be. When I can't speak for myself faithfully, when I can't process information, the doctors will work with my healthcare proxy to make decisions. All right, and important to note here, a lot of people wait way too long late in life thinking they won't need a proxy until they're sick or whatever else. But as we know, things can happen spontaneously. It's really important to name your healthcare proxy anywhere along the way of a life, really starting at age 18. Since 1990, when privacy laws changed, and when we turn 18, we are considered an adult. And technically, legally, doctors can't share medical information, even with my parents, if I haven't given them permission. So once I turn 18, I should really name my healthcare proxy in case, God forbid, something happens in college, like it happened to me when I was 19. And I was in a situation where I couldn't make any decisions. What else? Let's see, what goes into a good healthcare proxy? So, as we said, it's an important position. And the criteria for a good healthcare proxy are really someone who knows me well, who knows how I think, who knows what's important to me, who knows the situation and circumstances of my life, someone who can think clearly, someone who can act under pressure, and someone with whom I'm in close enough contact that as my mind changes, as life goes on, someone I'm up to date with, who can speak for me in contemporary terms, not someone who knew me 30 years ago. All right, so sometimes that is our loved ones, a spouse, a relative, but sometimes those people might be too scared, too freaked out in those situations to speak on my behalf, to put their own pains aside and to speak on behalf of my own best wishes. So sometimes a best proxy is really a friend. Normally, if you haven't named a proxy and you land yourself in a situation in a hospital, doctors will automatically kind of go down the pathway of next of kin. Is there a spouse? If there's no current spouse, well, then is there a blood relative, a kid or a parent who can come in? So we sort of naturally go down this pathway of next of kin. But sometimes either we don't have a spouse or next of kin, we don't have family, or we have family with whom we're not close, who don't know us very well, or whom we don't trust. So for a number of reasons, your proxy may not be in that natural order of next of kin. That can get sort of politically tricky within family systems. A proxy is not an honorific. To be given the power of a proxy doesn't necessarily, yes, it's an honor, it confers respect in some level, but it's a practical job, not a trophy. So sometimes if you think it's going to be tricky in your family structure, your friend structure, first of all, name your proxy and communicate that to the person and your circle so there's no surprises. But also you can put second and third and fourth proxies on the list, backup proxies. That's a way to get people important in your life on the list, a part of the conversation. So that's what goes into a good proxy. That's the usual pathway. Oh, okay. So given all that background, how do you designate your proxy? So that's pretty easy, actually. The form is called an advance directive or a living will. Those phrases are synonymous. There's also this thing called a post or a most. Different states have different names for this little form. It's sort of a complementary form to an advance directive. Any of these forms will allow you to name your proxy. There are different details to each of those forms, but any of those will do the trick. So downloading an advance directive that's specific to where you live, to the state you live in. There are state-specific advance directives. Most of them are much the same. They're all much the same. They might have slightly different processes around getting it notarized or having witnesses at the time of signing, etc. But anyway, on that form is where you name your healthcare proxy. And at that point, you want to obviously talk to your healthcare proxy, make sure they are okay with this role. Also, touch base with your close inner circle of friends so everyone knows if things go wrong, here's what I'd like to have happen. And also make sure to communicate this with your doctor. So taking a copy of the advance directive or living will or the post into your physician and making sure they upload it into their health system medical record is also important. So that's it. Once you've done that, you've named your proxy and you should be able to sleep better at night. One last little point of advice here, guys, would be you can do this once, but of course, over time we change. 10 years from now, I may think very differently. My relationships may be very different. So as with all of the advance directive, you're going to want to update it over time and check in once a year or as your circumstances change with your healthcare proxy. Make sure your relationship's up to speed and make sure they can speak on your behalf. So yes, do this once, but do it over time. When your circumstances change, when your health changes, or just once or twice, once a year or so, at least check in on it. You can change this form a zillion times over without any penalty or trouble. Just make sure to communicate your changes to the people it affects. Okay, I think that's everything. Thanks so much for listening. Hope it was helpful. Bye.